I am Bill Bruce, Chair of the Westwood Finance and Warrant Commission, and you are watching In Session. The FinCom met on Wednesday, February 12th, and here are the 5 key takeaways from the meeting. We had Stephanie McManus and the Select Board present to discuss a budget for the upcoming year. So all 5 areas I'll highlight here are around the budget to make everyone aware of some of the key things driving it. So our overall operating budget, number 1, is around $120.7 million, so up 4.4% year over year. We'll talk about some of the drivers and some of the breakouts, but certainly fixed costs are one of the key drivers this year. So number 2, from a fixed cost perspective, a very sizable increase this year of 7.6%. Typically, those increases fall around 3 to 4%. A lot of what's driving this is some one-time anomalies. There was a big pension increase after a reassessment of 7%. We're expecting, although we don't have final numbers, a sizable health insurance increase, given what's going on in the market, of 10%. And then we have an increase in waste as well of 9%. And those are some of the bigger items driving that fixed cost increase. And the fixed costs are 20% of our overall budget number. So you can see how it can drive things. As we move on, talking about some of the other key items of the budget, from a capital perspective, those several capital items that everyone will see on the warrant articles, and most of these are funded with free cash, meals and tax receipts, or ambulance receipts, as opposed to in the operating budget within the Prop 2.5. So some of the capital stuff you'll see are items like DPW, fire and police equipment needed, maintenance of buildings and updating of some things, like revamped lighting, replacements there. There's also a couple items, one around town and school finance software. The software we currently use is old, and it uses a platform that's no longer being serviced by the manufacturer. So we have to get some new town school finance software. And then another bigger item is electrical panel at Sheehan. Needs to be replaced. And all of those different items I highlighted come from free cash and meals as opposed to in the Prop 2.5. A couple other items from a finance perspective that were discussion tonight. 4, local receipts. So we talked a little bit about local receipts, how they've increased over the last few years. And because of that, it's enabled us to increase our projections slightly. We always have to be conservative with this because if we ever miss, Department of Revenue penalizes us. But what falls into those receipts are things like motor vehicle excise taxes, fees from construction and other things, as well as one of the big things helping to drive it the last few years has been interest income. So favorable returns on our investments have helped drive it, but that's not always going to be the case, which is why we have to remain conservative in that. But that's one of the items helping us to balance out the budget this year. And then the last thing I'll hit on, number 5, because there was some discussion around free cash. So we have free cash of about $14.3 million. And what the thing with free cash to remember is it can't be used for operating budget, has to be used for more capital and one-time expenses, which is why you see those funds used for a lot of the capital expenses I highlighted earlier. Would you like to share any questions or concerns with the Westwood FinCom? Reach out to us using the email address you see on the screen. We'd love to hear from you. New episodes of In Session premiere the day after the FinCom meetings to inform you of important decisions that affect the people who live and work in the town of Westwood. We aim to keep you better informed and appreciate your time.